All right. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to summarize chapters 13, 14, and 15. So this is our penultimate Zoom call. Another bloody Zoom call, as you and Aaron were saying the other day.
Yeah.
Man, if we'd only bought some stocks in Zoom before the Corona situation happened, then we wouldn't have to study this shit, you know.
No kidding.
We'd
Yeah, I'm
already
sure
be
they're doing pretty
billionaires.
well. Yeah.
All right. Our Zoom calls are better though, isn't that right?
I think so.
More
Hey,
substance.
at least we're enjoying it. I'm getting a lot out of it. I
Yeah,
haven't done
for
this
sure.
much deep study on this in quite some time.
I found a video the other day on YouTube, and it's Jay Hunt, and it was him on public access TV in the mid '80s, and he's got all his hair, and he's got like the little mustache and all. And I watched it, and that was years before I was even born, and I got value out of it. So it got me thinking. I was like, imagine you know, these videos will eventually be on YouTube. Imagine like years and years from now, like 20, 30 years from now, if someone just stumbles on this treasure trove and knows who we are and like, oh yeah, I know that old guy that speaks to me at Cara Europe.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that could totally happen, man. I like that.
So let's jump into this. Chapter 13. A lot of it was talking more about the creative frame as opposed to the competitive frame, and a lot of it about the mindset.
Yeah, quite a bit, and also on like the different faculties and tools that we have, you know, getting into the right business. So a lot of, I mean, this one was pretty full with wisdom. I was just writing like crazy. I took so many notes on this one because he's really talking about, you know, get into the business that you're best suited for and that actually serves people and serves you and the advance in life. But I really got that he was talking about like if you don't have the right talent, you can develop the talent. He said, but it would be, what is it? You'll get the rich most easily in terms of effort if you do that which you're most fitted for. But you'll get rich most satisfactorily if you do what you want to do. Okay, and that desire is a manifestation of power. Like the fact that you want to do something is actually the source, you know, the supreme power wanting to express that through you. And it kind of brought me back to that whole thing of like, you know, what is it? Fate, destiny, or free will. You know, I was like, oh, how do you square that circle? You know, if there's an omnipotent God, but you have free will. And I just, I used to think like, it's almost like one of those choose your own adventure books, right? Every infinite possibility has been written depending on what page you go to, but you get to choose which way it goes, right? So you're collapsing the possibility. And why that's relevant is because when you do things like externally driven and there's just not joy in it and you're trying to just push and push with energy and motivation, it's different than when you do that thing that the supreme power actually wants you to do or what you're born for and what your purpose is. Yeah, it requires some effort, but it's like you're pulled towards it instead of pushing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I'm so glad you touched on that because I had a really interesting debate with someone the other day, and we were basically just having the debate saying that some people are just they find academics so much more easy and it doesn't come as easy to other people. And she was saying no, that's just an excuse. If you're not good at academics, you can learn to be good at academics. And I was like, well, yes, you're right, there's things you can do to improve, but the fact remains some people are just more cut out or they have more of a passion for that. So you can learn how to do it and you can optimize it, but some people are just naturally better. Like I'm never going to be an elite basketball player because I don't have the morphology. I just don't have the interest in it. I can improve, but within my own limits.
Yeah, I think I've started a little late in this life to be a UFC champion. You know, that bus is already left. But yeah, totally. There are things that you're going to have natural talents that you'll just be more suited for it. Absolutely. And I think there's something to it. A lot of the times the things that we have will towards or we have desire to do, a lot of times it comes out of a void and out of something that like we feel like man, I don't have that. I suck at that, but I want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're just born with this magical talent, but there's some things that you want more. And yeah, for me, ironically, it was actually, I didn't give a shit about academics, but I did care about knowing, and I cared about learning. And it wasn't until kind of like late in my academic career that I really had that desire. And then for me, I felt like, oh, that's wrong. You don't want to be left brain. You don't want to be academic. You don't want to be logical, because you just got to just tap into innate, man. And you're like not connected and you don't get it. And like, you're not a real chiropractor because you actually care about mechanisms, but I had a deep innate desire to learn that stuff and to know. And that doubt was like, that was the void. I've got to fill that void of like, I don't know. I don't have a fucking clue, and I want to know.
Yeah.
So,
what have you, this is a little bit of a side tangent, but what all have you done? I know you've done the Carrick stuff, you've dove deep into the neurology. What else have you done outside of school, academic wise?
I mean, way back early on, I did all the AK stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I never really resonated with it that much. It just wasn't for me. Like, I know a lot of people that do it and they're great with it, and it's beautiful stuff. My skeptical mind, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I saw some people doing parlor tricks and faking it, and I was like, I just couldn't get my head around it. But that's neither here nor there. Really, mainly it's been neurology, all the Carrick stuff. Learned a lot from Michael Hall. Just biomechanics, really deep into sports science. So big thing for me was I did my CSCS, Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, which is like the highest level of.
You did that after chiropractic college?
In chiropractic college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had my bachelor's, my undergrad already, so I did that in Dallas. And I was a personal trainer when I was younger, and then I just got into, like, I really loved physiology. Like physiology, I geeked out on it. And so, yeah, I got into kettlebells. I started doing a lot of stuff with Pavel Satsulin. And then I started training with some other Russian guys that are like world champion kettlebell guys. Kenneth J, which is funny because he came out of Pavel Satsulin, and then he went full circle, and now he's on staff at the Carrick Institute. He teaches the human performance stuff for them. Yeah. So yeah, just a really broad, big martial arts background, and just geeking out on physiology. Like, yeah, I remember my first thing. You had
that desire to learn it, and you were passionate about it.
Yeah, I think it was like even from when I was a little kid, and we had the little Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever, the little, the clear, transparent ones of the human body.
Oh yeah.
You flip to that, and that was like what just fascinated me. So I think I took like my first anatomy class must have been in junior high or something, and I'm learning the muscles and the bones. So I was just enamored with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's super cool to me.
Even when you talk to people in a completely different field to you, and it's something that you're not interested in, but it's something that they're really passionate about. Like, I couldn't give a shit about tennis, but if you meet someone who just radiates tennis from their being, and they're telling you why they love tennis. So like, if we're talking about neurology, like, I've seen you get fired up about neurology. Another big one that I think about all the time is Rafa. Rafa is a BCC graduate. He was a flatmate of mine, and whenever he explains the neurological mechanisms, that like he just lights up. And it reminded, whenever you read the quote here, it says, "The desire to play music is the power which can play music, seeking expression and development." So there's something innately that's trying to express itself. And when you speak to someone who's really fired up and passionate about something, even when it's nothing that I care about, it could be coffee or something. I love seeing people do that.
Completely, man. That's like the expressive, creative urge coming through life. I mean, it's beautiful. It's chiropractic meaning of life, that intelligence expressing through matter. And what was I? Oh, I almost lost my train of thought there. It'll come back. We'll move forward.
Right. And another thing I wanted to touch on is it said here, there's never any hurry on the creative plane, and there is no lack of opportunity. And that lack of opportunity, I was speaking to someone the other day that's just lost their job, and I was trying to, they're not into this, they're not reading self-development stuff, not a chiropractor or anything like that. And I was trying to explain, like, you've lost your job, but you didn't like your job. This
Yeah.
might, I know it sucks now and you're worrying now, and I'm sorry for what happened, but this could be a great opportunity. But because they're
Yeah.
not in that, they're not in that mindset, they're not in that creative thought process. Now it seems like the world's going to end. You know, it's hard to explain this to some people.
It's that whole thing, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because it's what we fix our mind upon and the mental image. And it's like, I'm not being flippant about that. I realize like it's really, really fucking hard when you're broke to stay connected to that faith and purpose and opportunity. And but we wrote the same quotes. And then the next one that I wrote was, if in doubt, wait. Okay. Fix your mind with faith and purpose and connect with gratitude. So that thing, and it's so difficult when you can't see it, when the world out there is bigger than in here. And yeah, it's a challenge, but it's probably the greatest skill in the world. If you can reconnect with, okay, what can I be grateful about? What do I want to do? Even though it may seem hard, you haven't seen the end of the movie yet. You know, if you can stay focused on where you're going. You know, Anthony Robbins used to talk about, he would work with, he would take like this racing course, right? And the drivers, like whenever they get out on the course and you start to spin, and he'd start looking at the wall, and the teacher would visibly, or like actually physically turn his head back. He's like, no, don't look at the wall. Look where you want to go. Because everybody that looks at the wall, they slam into the wall. But if you keep your eyes fixed where you want to go, you'll self-correct.
Right.
And it's like, it's really challenging to do that when we're coming from a place of uncertainty and doubt, but it's the only thing that's ever going to change it. You know?
Yeah, keep charging. Whenever you said about the racing, it reminded me of well, you're Irish. Do you know what hurling is?
Yeah.
So for anyone listening that doesn't know, it's basically like, it's a strange sport. They're basically running about with these giant hockey sticks, and you have to wear a big helmet, and you're hitting this ball, and it's like played in the air. It's kind of like hockey, but the ball is in the air. But what can happen is people can get really hurt, because if you're charging towards someone and you hesitate and they swing because they're trying to hit the ball, you can get knocked out. So what they say is, whenever you're charging towards someone, even if it looks like they're about to swing, you have to get closer to them, because if you're closer, they're not going to hit you. But if you hesitate, then you get clubbed in the face with this thing. So it's almost like charging forward and not hesitating.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It's very similar to lacrosse, but that makes sense. You gotta go for it and not hesitate.
Yeah. True. Yeah. So I'm saying to this person that's complaining and basically distraught that they've lost their job, and in times of doubt and indecision, it's important to cultivate gratitude in these times and seek the opportunity. And I've been there before, where people are telling you these things and you're not in that mindset, and you're like, oh, you're just full of shit. You're out of touch with reality. But
it's tough, man. That is, he said in an earlier chapter, this isn't flippant, just, focus on what you want, and all of a sudden the world comes to you. It's the hardest work in the world to maintain a fixed, certain mindset with faith and purpose on something that you really, really want. It's, it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Like chiropractic, like adjusting. Simple, but not easy. The concept is simple, not easy to do. Yeah. I wanted to get your thoughts on this part where it's saying, do all that you can do in a perfect manner every day, but do it without haste, worry, or fear. Go as fast as you can, but never hurry. Remember that in the moment you begin to hurry, you cease to be a creator and become a competitor. You drop back into the old plane again. In a chiropractic context, like, what would that mean? Would that mean like you're trying to build a practice, but instead of being in love with the process of building it, that you're stressed and you're trying to hurry too much? Or what's he trying to say?
I think probably, well, the first thing that comes up for me right there is that if you're trying to learn chiropractic or in practice.
You're just out and you're starting your practice.
Okay. Then I would imagine the hurrying would be this expectation of like, you're doing it for this external result instead of going out there and just like in the moment, do it perfectly, do it, act in a certain way with presence, and like, don't worry about it coming to you. That will happen. But if you're going like, oh, I went out at a screening and now I don't have 25 new people, that's that's what I get out of it. If you're going, because you're going from the competitive plane, like I have to get X number of people, instead of the creative plane, you're going out there to share. You're going out there to serve.
Right.
And when you go with that, then it's like, that's when it links up, especially if you're acting with faith and purpose, you in a certain way, you've got gratitude, then that's what causes the supreme power to draw it towards you, you know. But if you're sitting there going, oh man, I got 15 new people and I wanted 30, that sucks, you know.
But this is where I'm kind of having a conflict in it, because yes, I'm reading it, I understand what it's trying to say, but then on the other hand, I'm like, it's good to have, like, do you think Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali or Warren Buffett, that they don't have that competitive, like, that you have to always be pushing more? So where do you think's the happy medium?
I think it's in showing up in each and every act that you do. And so, like, yesterday's done. I'm not going back to yesterday. I can act what we talked about in the last session about acting in a certain way, which is acting with presence, being right here, right now, and giving your all right here, right now, but not to compete with others, to compete with yourself, I guess. But how much can you draw out of yourself? And in the next chapter, be a person that's creating increasing life and the advancing personality. Like, you're going to be better, to be better, to be better. But yesterday's done, and we're not worrying about tomorrow yet. We're going to be better right now. I'm going to bring, it's like the 4 agreements, you know, do your best, and your best is going to be different at different times. Have you ever read that one?
I haven't read that. I've heard about it.
It's a great short read. Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah. Do you think it would help even to set the goal and have the goal in the back of your mind? What was that I was reading the other day, and it said, if we're playing basketball, you have the goal in mind that you want to win, but it would make no sense for us to go out onto the basketball court, me and you on the same team, and we spend the whole time just passing the ball to each other and looking at the scoreboard. That's not going to work. But if we have our mind on the scoreboard, but our presence is on the game, do you think that's kind of what he's trying to say? So it's like, okay, if you want to see a certain amount of patients, or grow your practice to be this size and a certain amount of bumps, or get this amount of people from the screening, or make this amount of money, that you have that in your mind. It's on the scoreboard, but on the day to day, you're focused on being the best that you can be.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You got the very clear vision. You want to win the national championship. You want to do all this, but you can't win the national championship. All you can do right now is do today. So if it's a game, you play this game, you play this play. Okay, I'm not even worried about the score right now. I'm on this play. And if it's in practice, I'm in this practice. And what we're doing right now is we're focusing on free throws. I'm 100% in free throws, or I'm shooting 3-pointers, or we're using basketball. I suck at basketball, but you're focused in that thing. You still have the big vision, but you're not focusing on beating them. You're focusing on you showing up 100% the best you can do it at that moment in time.
So I'm not worried about seeing 1,000 people this week and am I going to make it? I'm worried about this C2 on the right.
Yeah, exactly.
And making this the best C2 on the right that it can possibly be.
100% when you're with that person. And then when you go home and you're planning, I'm going to do this screening tomorrow, then I'm 100% going to focus on what do I say and how do I have the setup, and okay, how can I train right now in this moment? And then you go to the screening and boom, that training's done. Now you're 100% with that person in that moment, not thinking about closing people, not thinking about, but you're boom, you're there.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, whenever I'm reading it, I'm trying to put it in a chiropractic context, but with that one, I was struggling a little bit about how that relates to me, you know. Another one in chapter 14, I thought this would excite you because it says, in following the certain way as described in the foregoing pages, you are getting continuous increase for yourself, and you are giving it to all with whom you deal. And you and Aaron have talked about this really a lot in your seminars, because you guys talk a lot about being the primary oscillator whenever you enter the room. And I thought maybe you might want to share some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that as well. And it's, man, it's really when you're just filled up with life.
So for people that aren't familiar with your teachings, like what does it mean to be the primary oscillator?
Yeah, I think it's the one that has the most congruent, coherent, clear energy. Okay, so it's basically certainty of purpose. So when you have more faith, confidence, and belief on something, whoever has the most certainty, they say they win. We don't mean it in a competitive sense, but they will lead the energetic interaction. Okay, so now I'm not even going to talk about DeMartini, but he talks about different people have different values. Like if a mother who's got 2 young kids, her values are going to be really, really around that. And the husband may be thinking about working or, earning money or something like that. So he's probably going to lead in that sphere. He's going to have more certainty around it because he's more focused on it. And the mother might have way more certainty and focus around how we want to raise the kids, and her work, she's the leader in that situation, if that makes sense. So in a chiropractic context, to be the primary oscillator means that you've trained, you know what you're doing, you know how to deliver an adjustment, you're clear about what service you provide, clear about what you don't do, and you're clear about that you can help people and that you care about them. And so when you've done those things and you show up, then it's like building your magnet. It makes you magnetic because you are the leader in that situation because you're the most certain. And so having your energy like that, it literally becomes attractive.
So how do you think, to relate to what he says later in the chapter, how do you walk the line between being that certainty and maybe wanting to share your success to maybe inspire others or whatever, and just being boastful? Because he's saying that being boastful is a sign of, I don't know the exact quote, but it's like a sign of insecurity.
Yeah, where are we at here?
Don't have that certainty.
I did write that down. Yeah, look out for the temptation to seek for authority, to become a master, to be considered as one who is above. The mind that seeks mastery over others is the competitive mind, not the creative mind. So that's a big one. And I think that has taken me a very, very long time to learn, because I think probably what impelled me towards wanting to be very good was thinking I wasn't very good, and I wanted approval. And I wanted to be seen as like, oh, you're good, you're doing it right, you're doing well, like this kind of what we talked about last time, like a kind of an external validation. And you can get really, really good at adjusting people left, right, and center. And if it's really about you being a great adjuster, the magic doesn't happen, because it's not about increasing life for all. It's about, I want you to think I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's a big difference between like, I just want to take care of this person. Man, I know chiropractic is so awesome. If I can just get them adjusted, their life is going to be better. And for a long time in my career, I didn't have that mindset. I had the mindset of like, I've got to get good at this. I'm not good enough. And that was the whole thing we were talking last time. It's, you're adjusting a person. Where the magic will really happen is, how can I serve this person? Obviously, you serve them best by being a great chiropractor, but with the focus on service to them, instead of, oh, yay me, look at that. Oh, I rocked that. C2 on the right. Yeah.
Yeah. I've thought before about, you go home and maybe not me, of course, but other people, they might be adjusting family and friends. And maybe some of your friends don't want to get adjusted. And you could fall into that. No, I've been putting a lot of time and energy into this. You're gonna like this. I'm gonna show you. You're gonna. Now, I would say to those people, just be like, look, if someone wants to get adjusted, adjust them, but we don't have to force them, because whenever you're if I have to try and convince you, then it's about me, as opposed to it's something that we're doing together.
Totally. It's like we're trying to get something from them. And usually in that case, it's, even though we want them to get chiropractic, we really want them to get like, the thing that I do is so fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I'm trying to get more into that mindset. Like a big one that's not related to chiropractic, and I don't like talking about it that much, but the whole vaccine thing. But whenever a parent's really adamant that they're going to vaccinate their kid and blah, 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 regardless of what your opinion is on this, from that person's point of view, they do think they're doing the right thing. They're not evil, bad people. They think they're doing the right thing. So you trying to convince them, saying you're a bad person, you're doing it wrong, or maybe they're saying to someone who's anti-vaccination, like, you're a bad person, you're part of the problem. From that person's perspective, they are doing the right thing for their child. So it's kind of falling into that creative frame of, okay, maybe I can try and educate you, but there's not really that much I can do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very rare that you're going to change somebody's mind on a very emotional topic. There are, you know, there's communication methods that are more effective, definitely staying in agreement and not making them wrong. But yeah, we could go way down the rabbit hole on that one. I don't want to get too far off track on that.
Into that trap so many times of like, no, like, just listen to what I'm trying to tell you, and you get frustrated, and they get frustrated. And now I try and just be like, okay, man, like, whatever. If you ever do want my opinion or my help, you don't want to give unsolicited advice,
right?
You know.
Absolutely.
All right.
There was one other thing in this one. Okay, so this is so good. The desire for increase is inherent in all nature. It's the fundamental impulse of the universe. Where increase of life ceases, dissolution and death set in at once. So that is the creative impulse. I mean, that's Syntropy. You know, that's the organization. It wants to be organized, and it wants to be increased. It wants to have more order and coherence. And people will go where they're given increase. And the Supreme, which desires increase in all, will move towards you, people who have never heard of you. So, like, really wanting to take care of people and certainty, faith, purpose, acting in a certain way, and increasing life for them, then they're just going to be impelled towards you, you know? That was basically the whole chapter for me. That was the most important bit, that it's natural that everything wants to increase in life.
That's nice. Or it's like whenever you're speaking to Stu Bittman or these legends, or when you hear about the chiropractors of years gone by, and they just had such a level of certainty, and that's maybe why they got these, I don't know, but maybe that's why they got these miracles. Maybe the adjustment wasn't that good. Didn't Destiny say on the group the other week, she was like, yeah, I've been adjusted by some chiropractic legends, and was very surprised to find that they've had all these miracles, but then you get adjusted by them, and it's not like it's a good adjustment, but it's nothing that special, you know?
Oh, dude. I won't even go I won't even go there, but yeah, seen people doing the flying 35 that, you know, had crazy miracles. Go back and watch Pasquale Sarasoli adjust. There's YouTube videos of him. I think he hits every single joint in the human body, but the guy was tapped into the source and certain.
Yeah. Even just as a student, I've had some weird experiences. People coming in infertile, and you adjust them once and then don't see them for a few months. And then they're like, oh, hey, you know, are you going to come in for your appointment type thing? Oh, I'm pregnant.
I got what I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would I need to come back when you fix the symptom?
Exactly.
All right. Chapter 15. Any thoughts?
The advancing personality. Okay. Yeah, what I did think it was really cool. I mean, obviously he uses the word medicine, but you can just put healing arts or whatever in there. And it said, the advancing man in medicine who holds a clear mental image of himself as successful and who obeys the laws of faith, purpose, and gratitude will cure every curable case he undertakes. So yeah, I really like that.
I wrote the same quote.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. And really, really, really highly encourage people to get into Thurman Fleet's work, concept therapy. Don't be put off by the name therapy because it's not really about therapy. But he has something, he talks about suggestive therapy and talks about all different people. Some could be Christian scientists, others D.D. Palmer, it's adjusting people's spine. There was this Canadian doctor, Dr. Locke, who was seeing 1,000 people a day just cracking their feet and people getting miracles. And he's talking about how can somebody do this faith healing, and another person adjusts the spine, and another person cracks their feet, and people get these miracles. And like, because the hidden power, what heals us is inside, you know. And when we can align with that, and people get that clear mental image, the healing image, then healing is natural. It's normal. It's supposed to happen. And it's so great because it fits so well with chiropractic. And then if you get really good at the delivery of the adjustment with the clear mental image, it's freaking magic.
Yeah, and then the money comes as a result of that. If you just focus on that,
yeah.
the money comes. It said,
yeah, you don't even have to worry about it.
Before the quote that you said, it said, if you can give increase of life to others and make them sensible of the fact they will be attracted to you and you will be rich. And the way it says increase of life, I was like, oh, that is chiropractic.
Exactly. That for me is like Virgil Crane said, release, increase, and sustain life. Release and increase life. And that's it. I mean, that's what chiropractors do. Is there any business more suited to this?
Yeah. It's like what we said in the first episode. This is a chiropractic book.
Totally.
To me, this is chiropractic philosophy just explained in a slightly different way.
100%.
And related
totally agree.
more to money. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is nothing in your circumstance or in the industrial situation that can keep you down. What are your thoughts on that? Because now we're kind of entering a time. Do you think we're entering a stage where you're going to see the chiropractors that were able to adapt or not? Because when we come out of this thing, for anyone listening to this in the future, in the 30 years later, when Patrick's old and ranting to people at the dinner table at Carrier, we're recording in this in the 4th of May 2020 during the coronavirus, and whenever we come out this thing, there may be offices that have to close, there may be offices that have fallen into financial trouble, patients might not be coming in so much, you're going to have to do reactivation campaigns. Do you think we're entering a time where we're going to see the differentiator, who were the people that were more resourceful and were able to adapt to this situation better?
100%. 100%. Yeah, there's zero doubt about that. Not only that, but I think you're going to see this moving forward this way is going to be the only way, because people are going to be in doubt and uncertainty and lack of faith and lack of purpose and scared. And you better be the primary oscillator. You better be clear, and you better be sure about more life for all. Like, not, man, people are going to they're going to smell a sale a million miles away right now. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be clear and you got to take care of people. And you do that in these times like this. Chiropractic, like real chiropractic, always grows in times of economic difficulty.
Sigafus has a big thing about, there were chiropractors during the Great Depression, the real economic depression, and there were people coming out of school and becoming millionaires during the Great Depression because people
completely. Yeah, and I think it'll be the same, but only from a place. It won't work in terms of like building a business and trying to sell a commodity. A lot of people, they really try and move away. Rochelle and I were talking about this, move away from a personality-based practice and have everything really, like widgets. And that's great. I mean, it's good to have systems, but really the fundamentals.
What's that?
Just a beer bottle, a hammer, or just turning things into commodities, right? So I'm going to McDonald's, like the E-Myth, like turn a chiropractic office into a McDonald's. It's completely reproducible. And that's fine. Systems are good. We need systems. Nothing wrong with that. And in these times of uncertainty, economic and everything else, people are going to be magnetically attracted to people who are certain and care about them. They're going to go where they feel cared about. You know what I mean? Like, if money's tight, they're going to go, first of all, people are going to be more subluxated than ever. And when they come into a chiropractic office, they're going to notice chiropractic more than ever. Like, watch all these people that come out that haven't been adjusted in so long. You're going to see they're going to love it if and only if you're delivering the goods and you're caring about them.
Yeah, they might come out. They might not have even been touched, even given a hug in 2 months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's such an opportunity for chiropractic. If they let us touch people.
Yeah. If we have our gloves on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes even having that certainty, I understand, just a disclaimer, that it's harder as a student to say this. I realize it's a different situation when you're paying your own rent and you've bills to pay and association fees. But I've found whenever I'm saying it to people, if I'm certain, sometimes being certain isn't about selling them on chiropractic. It's more about, you can tell them to walk away. Like, I'll tell them, like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't for you. If you're not going to take this seriously and you're not going to follow the care plan, probably best just not to start, because it's wasting your time and wasting my time, and it's wasting your money. And sometimes when you say that to people, it's almost like a pattern interrupt, because everyone else is trying to sell them. Everyone else is like, oh, this will be great for you. You know, it's the whole thing, like, sell me this pen. And sometimes if you sit there and you're like, hey, you know, this isn't for everyone. And I think it was you that said this to me once. You said, chiropractic is for everyone. My office is not. And I love that.
Yeah, I'm real clear on how I work, and it's just basically let people know how we work, and here's what I suggest. And, you know, people can do what they will, and I'm not going to dislike them if they don't want to do it or anything. It's like, it's really, no, this is how it works. Like, I wouldn't, if I were a mechanic, I wouldn't, you know, like, oh, you can only afford me to take the oil out of your car and not put new oil in. Let's do it halfway, you know, like, it's just, no, I'm the expert here. When I take my car in, I let the expert fix my car, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like a back and forth. It's, hey, here's what I do. Here's what I don't do. If you're in, this is what we're going to do. If not, it's fine. You can change your mind and you can come back anytime, but this is how we work. And this is what I can do for you.
And it's got to be fine too, that they say no. It's not like, you know, my way or the highway, or, you know, the whole chiropractic asshole spiel. Like, it sounds cool from the stage somewhere, but you know, like, seriously care about, okay, if this isn't right for you right now, that's fine. We're here in the future.
So was that my way or the highway? Like, what do you mean? Because I've said to people before, they're like, oh, you know, I want to come 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. Like, I can find you another intern if you want. But that's not how I work. You're going to come to me once a week, every week for 10 weeks if you start. And sometimes they say yes. And sometimes they're like, oh, I'll get another intern then.
Yeah. No, I just mean in terms of like, it's real. I mean, it's your own personality as well. It's got to be real for you. But just so many people, like, and I threw them out of my office. And it sounds like you're like a chiropractic tough guy, you know, in a chiropractic bubble. But it's just like, they're just people, and like, maybe they're not ready for what I have, or maybe they don't want it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, but they don't want what you have, but they liked you, and they send you 5 other people. Like, whatever. Just everybody is, you know, just another human being.
I did a Charla once, and I had maybe 6 people, and a guy at the end, he was like, you know, I'm completely bankrupt. He's like, I made some really bad financial decisions, and basically 60% of my paycheck goes back to the government of Canada straight away. So I'm in financial ruin. He says, so I can't start. I'm not going to start. He says, but when I do have the money, you're the chiropractor that I'll be coming to, and I'm going to send my friends. And I said, oh, you know, and pried a little bit deeper. I was like, why? And he's like, well, I've been to a few of these talks, these Charlas type stuff. I never signed up, but you're the first person I spoke to that I didn't feel like you were trying to sell me something. I feel like you're just presenting information that you're passionate about, and whoever's on board can get on board. And I thought that was I took that as a good compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's good. You want people to feel cared for in that way. And when they feel cared for, that's when they'll send you people. If you can be the best chiropractor in the world, man, if people feel like you're running a, you know, not a scam. I don't even want to say a scam, because it's not that. But if you're running a shtick, then they'll come get their adjustments, but they don't refer anybody. They feel cared about, they'll send you everybody.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see more of that in the next few weeks, I think.
I agree.
Because they're gonna smell who's selling and who actually believes all this crap that we're talking about. You know?
I really wish more chiropractors would get this clear, though. I mean, I didn't get it I had to learn it. I know a lot of the old DE guys had it really clear. I didn't hear about Dick Santo until 15 years into practice.
Yeah.
And just that, serve, give for the sake of giving, love for the sake of loving, and serve for the sake of serving. And you can't outgive the giver. Doesn't mean you don't get paid. You get paid, but like it's got to be focused on that first,
Yeah. Well, that's where I think this kind of thing that we're making now, whenever someone listens to this in the future, this is going to help some people. So thank you very much. We've still got one episode to do. It's going to be more of a summary, but that's kind of the book finished. So thank you very much for your time again. And,
no problem.
I'll see you on the ultimate meeting.
Sounds good, man.
All right. See you soon.
See you, buddy.